Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we are going to look at the Badger. Yes, the tier 10 the tier 10 British tank destroyer that I think is now one of the best tanks in the game. It had its phase. It did have its phase where it was a really good tank when it first came in, and then it was really kind of poor, and now I just think it is insane. So the armor profile on the tank, 215 on the front, 152 on the side, and 38 on the rear. So frontally, it's actually very, very good. If you're in a hold down position, it almost is impenetrable. DPM is very, very good at 3,856, very high indeed. That is just a 7.16 second on your reload. Penetration on your APCR, in fact, it's not APCR no more, is 275. On your heat, it is 370, and on your HE is 110. In fact, because it's changed, it is now AP, so you actually lose 5mm of pen, but you do gain 45 on your HE, so just over 150 on your HE, which is very, very good. Of course, if you want to run it with calibrated shells, yes, you do lose a bit of DPM, but I mean, you can gain over 407mm on your HE. To be fair, I don't think it needs it. I really don't think it needs the calibrated shells. If you run it with the rammer, I think that's enough pen, to be fair. You lose 270, which is quite high to be honest. So it all depends what you want to do. You could run it with the rammer, or you can run it with calibrated shells. It is literally just totally up to you. So yeah, it's the DPM's very good. Penetration, I think, is very good. You've got 460 alpha, 390 on your heat, and 550 on your HE. Aim time isn't bad, to be fair, at 3.6, same as the gun dispersion at 0.335. However, the gun dispersion has increased since I've made this video, and the shell velocity is a lot slower, and the sandbag armor provision has been added. So yeah, a few changes. You know, it has been changed a little bit. It has lost 5mm of AP pen, but you you have gained 45mm of HE pen. So I think that's a good trade, to be fair. It is a British tank. It deserves to get that higher penetration HE, which it's got higher. It's not massive, but it is higher, so you will be able to HE a lot more tanks, especially if you come up from behind or the rear. Now, again, this tank, when it was first into the game, so many people were saying that the tank's overpowered. They were saying it's completely OP, and it shouldn't be as it is in the game. But to be fair, I don't think it was ever overpowered. Like, there's certain situations, if you was in a hold down position, then yes, of course, like, you was almost, and hardly anybody could penetrate you. The same as if you were face hugging people. If you face hug people, it is extremely difficult, unless it's those with extremely high pen, like the Jaegeroos, the Hories, etc. Then yeah, they will be able to penetrate you. But if you was face hugging something like an E100, the E100 would find it almost impossible to penetrate you. They really, really would. But you would be able to penetrate the E100 very, very easily. So because of that, people were saying that the tank is overpowered, but that is all the tank was good for back then. Like, that is all it was good for. It was very, very slow, like literally very, very slow. And if you wasn't in a hold down position, then it was quite easily penable. Anyone can penetrate it. Like, you had the lower plate, even the front plate, you switch to the premium rounds and people can penetrate you quite easily. But yeah, over time, you know, I think it got nerfed a little bit, or it got changed, and then it becomes sort of just a stale tank. You know, it was not enjoyable. Everybody was penning you, and you just couldn't really do anything in the Badger. But again, Wargaming changed it, a few things. They changed a few things on the tank, and now I honestly think this is one of the best tier 10 tanks in the game. It has everything you need, apart from speed, of course. It's not a quick tank, so don't think you're going to go out there and flank the entire map, because you are not. But it has DPM, it has armor, it has penetration, it has high HE. The alpha's still pretty good for what it is, for the reload and what it is. The alpha is still pretty good. 460 alpha for a 7-second reload. Why not? So yeah, the only thing it doesn't really have is speed, but you don't need this. You don't need speed on this. It's not a tank that is known for that speed. So yeah, I still think it is definitely now a tank that is much, much better. And some people, again, may say the tank is overpowered. And nowadays, I can see why, because it's not just about the armor with this tank. It isn't. It's about the DPM. It's about the penetration. It's literally about everything. So it's not just about that armor. So yeah, I can understand why some people do think this tank is overpowered. But again, like all tanks, or like many other tanks, you put this tank in the wrong position and you could just be absolutely obliterated. You really, really can. But at least you can comfortably rely on the armor. As long as you're not in the open like we are now, we've got no cover whatsoever. This guy can penetrate us very, very easy. As long as you try and hide the lower plate, try and angle, then yes, you will be able to get some bounces. So far I've bounced 1420 alpha, 1420 damage, but we are on 2800 damage. Now we're winning on supremacy points. It is a 4 versus 4, and I want to push as far forward as I can. Now I am risking it at the moment, because there could be tanks on the left that could just annihilate me as I was crossing here. But I wanted, I wanted to make the move. We're winning on supremacy points, but like massively. And I just wanted to take care of this tank. But yeah, the AP or the APCR pen you see there was quite difficult. I couldn't penetrate that guy. But as soon as we switched to APCR or heat, sorry, as soon as we switched to the heat, yeah, no problem whatsoever. And it's the same as this tank. You can understand, this is me. Obviously, if this guy was hold down and I couldn't see the lower plate, you could just see how red it is. Obviously, we're looking down on the tank, which makes it a lot easier. But if you're level with the tank, you can't penetrate it. It's very, very difficult to penetrate it if it is in a hold down position. So 4.2k damage. We've got time for one more kill, and we do manage to kill the E100. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to take a care of the last tank, but we got the win somehow. We got the mastery badge as well. 4,500 damage, 1,800 block damage, and a mastery badge. I'll take it. Why not? Not often I get mastery badges anymore, but I will take that. And not bad XP, to be fair. So moving on, we're going to see a much better game. A very, very good game with a high amount of damage. So overall, how to play the tank. If you manage to get this tank, it does come for sale quite often, to be fair, whether it be crates or in just outright for sale. It does come quite often. So there's plenty of opportunity to be able to get the tank. And if it's for gold, yeah, of course, to be fair, I do think the gold price, 20,000 gold you're probably looking at, is worth it. It really is worth it. You're getting a good addition to your garage, and as long as you play it correctly, you really can bully the enemy team. You've got to remember, 3,800 DPM is a very high amount of DPMs. You could take on any medium that comes in front of you. Literally, you got more DPM than any medium in tier 10. So as long as they don't get to the side of you or to the rear of you, then yeah, you can really take care of them. So I wouldn't play it at the back. I don't think it is a backline tank. Yes, it's a tank destroyer, but I, to be fair, don't really play it like a tank destroyer. If you play something like the E3, I would honestly play this like the E3. Yes, it hasn't got a turret, which means you have to be extra careful because you can't sort of turn around, and if they do get behind you, then yeah, they're going to annihilate you. But always make sure you've got that cover. If you are going to play frontline, always make sure you've got that distance, you've got cover, and you've got a little bit of support. Don't let these mediums get behind you, because they will bully you. They really will, because it isn't a quick tank. Now, if he wouldn't have, that guy wouldn't have tracked that guy, then he would have been able to get behind the Badger very, very easily. But the Badger had the IS-4 for a bit of cover. So our guy now has a 4,200 damage. He's blocked 600 damage, and it's now a 2 versus 4. So there is a lot of work to do. Of course, he's not going to rush down the hill. Of course he's not. That would be a massive mistake. In fact, they're going to work quite well together, to be fair. It's a 2 versus 3. There's the E4. Just manages to turn enough to get the bounce. So that's 1,200 block damage. And now look at him. He's got that DPM. He's not a quick tank, but you know, it's not a very slow tank, and he's just going to push this guy because he knows that he has him on DPM. Look, he takes a shot and the E4 just cannot do nothing, and he takes him out very, very easily. So it is now a 2 versus 2, and it is looking a lot easier than it did 1 minute ago. So there's the Minotauro. Of course, the IS4, I don't know why he's got in that position, but it works out for our Badger here because he's just getting free damage right now. Until the IS4 is dead, he's just got free damage. And as long as he could take out this Minotauro here, which he does, I mean, that guy's turret is very, very strong, but it just got through it like butter. Yes, he has the upper ground, which really did help, but he just went through it like butter. So that is now 4 kills for our guy, 6,600 damage, and he's got it down to a 1 versus 1. If he could just rush this guy now, yes, he might get penned from the IS-7. As long as he pens all of his shot on the IS-7, he will be able to have him on DPM, like massively. The IS-7 does not have great DPM. So if this was me, I mean, this is probably why I don't do this much damage. I personally would probably just rush this guy, get it out the way, get it done. But no, our guy has different thoughts. He's like, you know what? We still got 3 minutes left on the clock. We have plenty of time to play around with his food, basically, because that is what he's doing right now. He's just playing with his food. He knows he can take this guy out. They're almost the same hit points. Well, now they're the same hit points, and yeah, he can easily take this guy out. So sadly, he does miss his shot there, and because of that, he does get around and take that shot. But as long as he can push him now, he'll be able to almost shoot him twice before the IS-7 has reloaded. And if he can get into a face-hugging position like we are now, then he will definitely have the advantage, as you have just seen there. 2,600 damage, that just said block, but on the side there, on the ribbon, it says 2,200. And before you know it, he has him. Like, he's got the hit points now, the IS-7 hasn't. Yes, he has penetrated him there, but this guy's a one-shot now. He is shooting heat, so, well, he was shooting heat until he switched to APCR. So yeah, that is what this tank can do. I would not play it at the back. I wouldn't play it at the back. I would honestly play it front line, as long as you have that support from your team or build-ins so you're not able to be circled. But definitely, right now, a tank to have in your garage. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.